to advise any students coming out of college who are going to go into a classroom, I would first say thank you and then just offer them this guidance to always trust that the process, even when it doesn't look like it's going to work, the process will work. You just have to engage in what it is you are committing to do. And don't be afraid to reach out for the support that you need, because I think that so many of our young educators fall by the wayside because they don't get the support that they need or that they want or that they feel they deserve, and they do. They don't know what to ask for, and they don't know how to ask for certain things because this is brand spanking new for them. So I would encourage that new college graduate to find a school that you are just the right fit for. Build relationships with your team, with your administrators, and rely on those people to help you get through those pivotal points that can become discouraging because you are kind of unsure of what the next thing needs to be. But just to hang in there and trust that the process works if you really engage in and with that process.
And just to add to what Dr. Taylor said, I definitely commend any new teacher for following your passion and coming into a wonderful profession. And we welcome all educators. The advice that I would give, or the guidance, would definitely be to make sure that you're not afraid to speak up and make sure that you're not afraid for your voice to be heard. A lot of times it's really easy to sit in meetings or sit with veteran teachers or educators and feel like they've been doing this forever. They have all of the answers. And a lot of times we do have a lot of the answers, but what we don't have are that fresh set of eyes or that new innovation. And a lot of new teachers have so many new things to offer that we're not even familiar with, but sometimes they are afraid to speak up because they feel like, oh, well, I haven't been doing this long enough, or they don't feel validated. So don't be afraid to speak up. Share your ideas. We need them. We have been doing things for a very long time in education, and we know a lot of the nuances, but your ideas may be something that could solve new problems that we're experiencing, or even old problems. So your voice is just as valuable as anyone else's that's been there for a long time. Don't be afraid to share your thoughts and ideas.
I think that's so powerful because you can bring that new energy that might be just what the school needs to get to that next level.
Happy Saturday, everyone. Welcome to episode 100 of the REALL Academy. We are super excited this morning that we have gotten all the way to 100 episodes, and we could not have done that without our great REALL Academy family, our Fantastic Four family that joins in with us every Saturday morning at 10:30. Eastern Standard Time. So good morning. I'm Dr. Sheikah Houston. If this is your first time logging in, and my trustmate in education, Dr. Tammy Taylor, is here with us. Good morning, Tammy.
Good morning, Sheikah, and good morning, everybody, and happy 100.
Yes, definitely. And those of you that log on with us every Saturday, we even have new backgrounds, as you can see. So we're trying to celebrate this upright. And we really enjoyed Principal Hurt's conversation this morning about that data. His data definitely works the way the strategies that he teaches you how to use with data to move the academic needle for students. It works. Just institute it, get him in because it works. But we are also a part of the Fantastic Four with Principal Hurt at Create and Educate. We are your systems solution sisters. So the systems that we put in place at my middle school, Tammy's elementary school, helped our schools improve 2 report card grade levels at my school in 1 year, 3 report card grade levels at Tammy's school in 1 year, which was an elementary school. Both schools were in state sanctioned school improvement, have now exited that process, and it was all because of these systems that we put in place. And you can see over our shoulders at the top of the frame here, this is our Create and Educate's 5 super strengths resilience framework. If you don't have the right systems in place in a school, your school is not going to be resilient, and it's not going to do the things that you would like for it to do. When you're talking about systems, you hear a lot of times we hear systematic racism or the school system. Systems are important because when you're instituting something and you're doing things strategically, if you do have a problem, just like when you take your car to get it serviced, when you have a problem and they hook it up to that computer tells them exactly where to go. When you have systems in place and there's something going wrong somewhere, those systems in place will help you narrow down exactly where you need to go to solve the problems in your school. And that's the type of work that we specialize in, helping new leaders get those systems in place to be successful. Or if your school is having any types of problems with something or trying to navigate something like state sanctioned school improvement, these systems will help you navigate that process, come out successfully, and still remain resilient. And Tammy's going to tell us about the framework.
Definitely. And just to add to that systems thinking, when you have systems and protocols that are in place that match the needs of your school can only move forward because you are addressing those things that you need to address in order to move to the next level. And for us, we've created a framework that allows for us to help you to work through those processes that set up the systems and protocols needed in order to be able to set yourself in the position to excel. And in our framework, the R stands for respect, the E stands for excellence, the A is for accountability, that first L is for literacy, and then that second L is for leadership. So combined, we've created a framework that we walk you through to help you to be able to put the systems and protocols in place that will help you to move your school forward.
Most definitely. And we also offer leadership coaching if you would like to institute these systems from our framework that will help you increase your report card rating, shift your culture, streamline your work so it decreases burnout for leaders, and also reduces that turnover rate and help attract teachers. So, last week, we were having a discussion about cultivating excellence, and that fits in on our framework under that excellence pane. And we got to the section where we were talking about mindset shifts, and we had a lot of people texting and emailing and calling us. You all need to pick up exactly where you left off from with that mindset shift. So, for this episode, we're going to pick up there, talking about mindset shifts, and that falls under cultivating excellence in our framework. So, a lot of times, or sometimes, people may approach mindset shifts from the aspect of, well, we're doing something wrong, so now we're going to do it this way, and it's kind of a push for people to do certain things, or conversations that I may have with my husband where I'm telling him, I'm right 99.9% of the time, so let's bet on me, let's bet on Sheikah, because I get it right most of the time. It didn't go over well with him either. So we're not going to take that type of thinking into a school. When we're talking about shifting people's mindsets, that's really an art form to that. It has to start from usually from you first doing your own research and making sure that you have the right information. And usually it starts with a conversation with your staff around data. So when you're bringing in that data after you've done this research, you're showing them why we need to change our thinking on a certain practice or a certain thing that we've been doing in our schools. Last week, when we were talking, the thing that prompted the response from most people was that thinking around giving students zeros for homework, and that really shifting their grades to be really low when you're talking about extra practice that should be happening at home. So Tammy had to have that conversation with her staff about shifting that thinking and changing that mindset around that. But the goal, again, is to get people to see things how you see it. You can do that with data, showing them the why, also showing them how you're hurting children and how this is not in the best interest of children. But it usually doesn't help when you just come in and say, well, we've been doing it like this, but now we're going to change it to this. You will have more people committed to the goal if you approach it using this art form that we're talking about with mindset shifts.
Definitely. And one thing I think that's important when you start the conversation surrounding mindsets as a leader, you also have to go in understanding that mindsets are based on perspectives, and everybody has one. Now, whether you agree with it or not, you still have to respect the fact that someone may not share your thinking. So it's important when you're talking about shifting mindsets and not going in and saying, oh, I'm coming to help you to develop a growth mindset because all of you have a fixed mindset and this is not good for the school. And you approach them differently, because in order for some people to think differently, you have to show them something that looks differently. And one of the things that I did, and that was a very personal conversation for me to have with the staff when we were looking at these students who were suffering with their final grades because of grades that had been assigned for missing assignments, and the missing assignments turned out to be homework assignments. We had to have some dialogue around what's the purpose of homework. That's the first thing that we needed to change our mindsets on. Are we assigning homework for them to go home and get a grade on something they do at home? Because neither side of that makes any sense. Because if I did it at home, who knows who did it? You don't know whether they did the assignment or not. That's the beginning of the conversation, because that's not what you want homework to be. You want homework to be reinforcement and an opportunity for students to be able to practice what they've learned. And when you start to talk with teachers that way and give them something different to think about, then you can start to see a shift in the way that they're thinking. And one of the strategies that I used that I think was very effective, and it was the beginning of the shift for us, was when I was talking with them about expectations, and we came together around the expectations that we have for the school. And what we wanted was to make sure that everybody understood that our expectation is for our students to do the best that they can. We want to see students be successful, and that is by any means necessary. So what we want to do is we want to make sure that we have systems and structures in place that allows for that to happen. And the year that we made the shift, the first day of school that the teachers returned, I had set up a community tour for everybody. I took them out in groups because we were using a community van, and it was one of the partners that I had partnered with the year before. And he agreed to drive us through the entire community and give the teachers the opportunity to see exactly where the children are coming from, some of them. And as we were going on the tour, and I was able to talk about, we've been talking a little bit about homework and why I think that homework is not something that needs to be graded, because this is what some of our children are coming home to. Some of them don't go to the same place day after day. I had to point out some things that many of them had never thought about. And those folks who are not from the community or from this area at all were just blown away by the conditions that they were seeing that some of our children were coming to school from. And so the expectations, that opportunity, and the community tour all were a very huge shift in the perspectives that the staff had about what the purpose is for homework anyway. And we started to get away from some of those things. The last thing that I did, and this was just at the end of the tour when we all had toured, because I went on all 3 tours. When we got back, we all came together and we met and debriefed what we saw, what we thought. And, it was very rich conversation. And I explained the other thing that I want us to think about is this: whenever there is the need to do something and you have a family emergency, or you have an emergency with a child, I don't give you a hard time about that. I'll come and cover your class. The
Mhm.
grace that I give to you, that same grace that's extended to you, I want you to lead your classroom with that grace. And so when children need support and they don't come in with their homework, let them do it in the morning. Let them do it before they go home. If you know they're not going to do it, let's just grace them with the same grace that I extend to you. And I can assure you that after that, our mindsets look differently. And I did not approach that saying, look, I can't work with y'all with these fixed mindsets that you have.
Right.
You need to change your mindset to be able to extend it to a growth thought process. That's not
Mhm.
what I did. I gave them the opportunity to change their own perspectives. And that also connected them with what was going on and what we needed in our school. The
Mhm.
last part of that was I had to help us to start thinking about parents as partners, not as enemies.
Exactly.
We're on the same page. We want the same thing for their child that they want. So
Mhm.
let's approach this as a partnership. And things really did start to look differently from there.
That is an awesome way that you shared how you flushed that out with your staff and had that conversation. And it goes back to, again, those systems that you need to have in place. And on the door of our framework is the door that's respect. When you're starting there with what Tammy talked about, you have to know who you're serving. You have to know your community. And
Mhm.
so she was not saying that, oh, we're not going to give homework and have low expectations. What she stated was, I'm giving gathered the data through our tour, and we're going to have a conversation about this. And that led to the shift in the thinking, which is what we're talking about, that art form around instituting certain things that have to happen in your school for you to be able to have high expectations and hold people to a standard of excellence. It's a process to that. So those
Miss
are the
Rita, one
types.
thing I want to just say that is right in line with what you're saying, because I think it's important as leaders for us to always promote high expectations, because the staff are looking at you to see if you're going to, even though they're asking you to do things that may look like you're going to lower the expectations, they're watching to see what you're going to do. Are you
Mhm.
true to your word? Do you really have high expectations, or are you going to just say, "Oh, poor things. They just you can't give them homework. Don't expect to get homework." That isn't what we're saying. The expectations remain. What we need to do is we need to do what we do from the school perspective to make sure that the kids are successful. And honestly, I believe that 100% of the time you have staff who care about kids and what's happening with them inside and outside of school, they're going to do whatever they can to make sure that those kids can be successful.
Most definitely. And from a leadership standpoint, sometimes we see things differently because the children are coming into our offices to sit and have these conversations about what's going on at home that may not be able to happen in a classroom with 25 children in it when you have teaching going on. So, when you all come together and are doing what's best for children and everyone trusts everyone's role, then you can come in and make those right decisions and those mindset shifts. So that is the type of thing that we help leaders to do with our leadership coaching. We are also have lots of engagements coming up that we want to share. And if you would like for us to share our school turnaround story with your staff, please go to our website and fill out the form. That is something that we have been doing to motivate a number of staffs who are trying to institute a growth mindset. But any of our professional development that we offer can be found on our website as well in our catalog page that you see here. We also ask that you join us at the upcoming Black Educators Rock 8th Annual Conference, where we will be presenters, revolutionizing school leadership and aligning the work. We're going to be talking about how you can institute the right things to decrease that burnout, some mindset shifts in leadership and the school system itself that we're going to be talking about. So we are so excited about that in Jacksonville, Florida. In Gastonia, North Carolina, we will be presenting for Gaston County Schools at the 2023 Teacher and Learning Conference. No More Ashes, School Improvement in 1 Year. So we will be talking about that school turnaround process. And we are very excited to go to Detroit, Michigan to speak with leaders and educators at Central Michigan University about school turnaround, real resilient readers, and real culturally relevant classrooms. We are very excited about that. And the last one that I'm going to mention today is we are confirmed presenters as well for NatCon, which is AVID's national conference. So we will be talking with those leaders about aligning the work with AVID. And for our 100th episode that we are so happy that you all are here with us for, we also want to share with you our book that we are putting the finishing touches on and should be to the editor next week. This is, you all are getting that first look. We wanted to share it with our family first. The collaborative No More Ashes with Create and Educate's 5 super strengths to a real resilient school. It doesn't have to be lonely at the top. These are the things that we talk about with you all every Saturday. So now we will have a book to go along with this platform. You'll have a book to refer to, and you'll be able to institute these strategies that we talk about every Saturday at 10:30 at your school and in your district. So we'll be bringing you more information about that, how to purchase and when it's available. But we wanted to share that with you on this special 100th episode. And just thank you all for being here with us. Several of you have let us know that you're instituting a lot of what we've talked about and is working for you. So we appreciate you. Again, we're part of that Fantastic Four. So we heard Principal Hurt this morning at 10. We're here every Saturday at 10:30. We're jumping over to the virtual AP Leadership Academy with Principal Kafele next. He's at 10:55. Then on Sundays, Josh and Dean are on with Unlock the Middle, and we are the Fantastic Four. So at Create and Educate, we create spaces that thrive. So we want you all to keep thriving on this Saturday, and we will see you next week.
Thank you, guys.
Thank
Great
you.
read.